Hello and welcome to another edition of Storytelling on Orchard Street. I'm your host, Pete Salamita. We're in the podcast studios at P&T Knitwear Bookstore, 180 Orchard Street. You should come visit. They got a great selection of books, a nice cafe, tables, seating, and they have events here. And I think you'll enjoy yourself if you pop down here. So my guest today is Caroline Reddy. Caroline work includes Iranian Women Speak, Shake the Atmosphere to Reclaim an Empty Moment, and On the Precipice of Summer. She is also the facilitator of the Creative Breath, a unique workshop that combines meditation, creative visualization, and writing prompts. She has taught this workshop at Eastern Shore Writers Association, Poets House, and New Rochelle Public Library, where she currently works as a librarian. In 2026, she will be hosting a 4-week workshop Thursday nights, March 5th, 12th, 19th, and the 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. Welcome to the show, Caroline.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
And thank you to P&T Knit Bookstore. I read here a few years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's nice to be back.
As part of what?
I actually came here with my friend Prince McNally. Who's
Okay,
also
sure, I know him.
Really
Yeah.
good poet.
Right, yeah, he is.
So I was part of the open mic, and it was really nice.
He just shaved his beard.
I didn't know that.
I saw a picture of him on social media. I don't remember which platform.
Okay.
I was like, wait, he looked like Michael Epps or something. He looked very different.
He's a really good poet, yeah.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah.
He's a very powerful poet. Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to talking to you. I looked over some things that I saw about you online and to familiarize myself with you. So let's just take the listeners first into your background, and then we'll get into your work. So you were born in Shiraz, Iran.
Yes.
Yeah. How long did you live in Iran?
I was in Tehran. I was born in Shiraz and lived in Tehran for about 8 years.
Okay.
I don't remember a lot of my childhood because it was during the War and Revolution.
Right.
And my heart right now goes out to the people there with everything that's happening.
Yeah, sure.
It's been,
Right.
it's been difficult.
It must have been very intense.
It was very intense.
Yeah.
When I came to the U.S. at 8, I kind of put everything behind me because
Right.
it was too difficult to deal with it. So a lot
What
of
was the prompt was just to leave Iran, but why why here?
We were refugees.
Right.
Yeah, so we came here, and it was hard to start over, especially for my
course.
mom. And a lot of the writing
When you say we, who would that be?
me and my mom came
Okay,
here.
just the two of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my background is...
You had other family, they couldn't come, or that's just
That's just how it worked out.
Right.
My other uncles ended up, one is in France and one is in Canada.
Okay.
And, one of the difficult things of war is that it breaks up families.
I know. Yeah,
So
I can't imagine, really.
Yeah.
It's like we hear these stories and it just can't be real, until you live through it.
That's one of the reasons I kind of limit myself to the news these days because it's very intense. So
Right.
I my work is
Would
really...
it trigger memories for you, or?
No, it's just very negative and angry,
Right.
and my work
I meant
is,
specifically news from Iran.
Yeah, it can be triggering.
Right.
So I kind of say, okay, my work is to help other people find their voice.
Right.
Because some countries, people don't have a voice.
Right, really, that makes a lot of sense.
So one of the classes I'll be teaching is called The Immigrant's Voice at Poets House. And I'll be teaching that the Thursday that you mentioned on Zoom, that's Poets House. And I'll be teaching The Immigrant's Voice again at Hudson Valley Writers Center in April.
Okay.
So that's going to be, I have the dates, it's on the website.
Right. Well, we'll put that information up at the end of the podcast. And we'll talk more about all this and your poetry and any other artistic endeavor that you would like to know. I just kind of like to get my listeners to get a better understanding about the poet because, we go to readings, we're basically just reading our work. Maybe you say something that introduces your work, or, what the background is behind it, and maybe you have a conversation here or two. But I don't think, I think what I try to do with my show is to give the poets or writers or artists that I have on not only a chance to get their work out there, but also for people to get to know them and understand where, because the work doesn't come from out of the blue.
No, a
Right,
lot of
yeah.
it comes from healing and going through a healing journey from a traumatic past and how you can overcome it. So my whole thing is, people can, whatever your way is, whether it's protesting or helping others, you find your way to make this world a better place.
Did you start writing poetry to kind of get out all the stress and the tough feelings you had? And when did you start writing?
I started writing really early. Like I was writing since I can remember.
Okay.
Since I was like 7 or 8.
Right.
At first, I was writing a lot of fantasy and horror, and I think one of the reasons I probably liked horror is because it relates to trauma.
Right.
I especially loved Stephen King growing up and books like that. So I wrote a lot of horror, but when I was older, I tried to write a story about like being half Iranian, being an outcast. My dad's from Ghana, so I'm Ghanaian too.
Right.
So I was trying to write a story about.
Is your dad in Ghana now?
No, he's in Canada.
Okay.
We don't have I have a poem in here that I'll read. That's about just the ancestor of the Ashanti tribe. Well, I'm not really close to my father, but so when I started writing, it was really fiction. And what happened is,
was it fiction kind of based on things that you were going on in life?
It was like a lot of trauma fiction, and I kind of wanted to change that a little bit. And I started writing poetry. And I had written a few poems at the same time as working on short stories and novel ideas.
And so this was throughout your childhood?
Yeah, throughout most of throughout my teens and then adulthood, I was writing fiction and poetry.
Right.
And what happened is Did
you study?
Yes, I studied creative writing at Manhattanville.
Okay.
I have an MAW in creative writing.
All right.
And so I realized that was part of what I really wanted to do in life. I fell into teaching. I didn't like teaching at all. Currently, I do love my job because they allow me to teach the writing class there.
Right.
So that's really good. They're very supportive. But I didn't like teaching at all. And so You
didn't like teaching because of what you were being asked to teach?
Politics.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like to be in front of people telling them what to do, little kids, older kids.
Right.
It didn't feel about, hey, I have this passion, I want to share it with you.
Right.
All of it.
But were you asked to teach subjects that you had less interest in, or?
I was both an English teacher, a librarian, and I just never really enjoyed it.
Right. Well, it's not for everybody.
Yeah. So, but teaching now is different. I love teaching because I get to teach what I love.
Well, you're teaching something very specific.
And I'm teaching something I love, and
right.
that
and it's your coursework.
My coursework, which is based on my inspiration. So that's different. But I feel like, for me, and my heart goes out to a lot of teachers. They do a lot.
Sure,
for us.
It's not easy.
But it wasn't being a teacher or a librarian in any school. It didn't really wasn't for me.
And you said you moved where first?
From
Iran.
Oh, we moved to Mount Vernon, New York, and I lived all over Westchester.
I see.
Pelham, Yonkers, and I was always writing.
How did you settle there?
We had some family members that helped us out, and then so that kind of worked out. Usually, not always. If you're lucky, you come here, you have some sort of support. So that's what happened.
Yeah. And was anybody in your family, an artist or writer? Or was there any influence familiar from the family, or is it?
I think my mom used to write poetry, but I don't know if she ever sent anything out, and it was in Farsi. And where I'm from, Shiraz is known for poetry.
I see.
Hafez and Saadi are two big poets. So when I was writing fiction, I had also written some poetry, and I sent a sacred dance out, which I'll be reading today. It got rejected once or twice, and then it got published on the third try, and then it was nominated for the Best Net. I was like, okay, maybe this is the door that can open to writing.
Right.
So I started, meditation is a big part of my practice. So I started in the morning meditating and recording prompts, so whatever would come into my mind, stream of consciousness. And after a few weeks of that, I would go back and edit, and there was a poem.
Right.
So that was the process. Now I'm trying to do the fiction, and I kind of took a break from poetry because I'll be teaching these classes, so I'm really focused on preparing for those classes.
I see.
Like I said, I love teaching now because it's something different.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I totally get that. I mean, I've had the opportunity to do teaching here and there. First, a little bit here and there with music, and then culinary, because I did both things in my life. So yeah, if you're passionate about the subject, it helps.
Yeah, I love the idea, and the idea of teaching this class came from taking a lot of retreats and creative workshops, various places. My own Zen center in New Rochelle, Empty Hand Zen Center, which we did meditation retreats, and then Omega and Kripalu and other places. I took all of these creative workshops and writing and art from after my divorce, and that really helped ground me. And I remember when I left teaching, I thought to myself, okay, I could teach these kinds of workshops maybe one day. And then years later, I'm kind of lucky to be able to do that.
Right. So I noticed, I read a couple of your poems on your website, and there's definitely an element of spirituality in it, correct?
Yeah, a lot of it focuses on Zen Buddhism because that's kind of what I was never really religious. I kind of pushed back against religion. My father's, very Christian, and it's just...
What about your mother's side?
My mom sort of liked a little bit of Sufism, but she was never really religious either. She loves, the Zoroastrian tradition, which is an ancient religion of Iran. So that's what she believes in, I think, for the most part. But nobody in my family was religious in any way, except for my father.
Right.
We didn't. I had a Christmas tree in Iran, believe it or not. So,
Okay.
So what happened is when I got older and my life kind of didn't make sense, I wanted to kind of go inward and figure out what will make me happy, what can make me feel not as depressed or anxious. So I started meditating with Empty Hand in New Rochelle. And there I kind of found a sense of community and family, and it really helped me feel more grounded. So a lot of the work I do is based on, trying to be in the present moment, trying to work through your trauma, trying to find a way to get your own voice back, get your life that you wanted for so many years back. For most of my life, I felt like I didn't have a voice. I felt like I couldn't be a writer, whether it was from family members who didn't really believe in me or people saying, well, you need a real job or whatever it was. It just never felt like it could be possible. So one of the things that I would love to do is help others find their voice as well.
Right. In particular, probably, since you understand, number one, being an immigrant, and number two, coming from a place where there was war or with working with refugees.
Yeah, the Iranian Women Speak, which International Human Rights Arts Festival reached out to me. Actually, they reached out to me. I sent a couple of poems to their website. They published it. And then they reached out to me and said, can you do the intro? And the idea was to raise awareness for the Zan Zendegi Azadi movement, the Women Life Freedom movement, which happened a few years ago. And then what's happening now is kind of, unfortunately, the continuation of that. But it's been off and on for years. We're trying to get some sort of voice out there for people, especially the women.
Yeah, which is in Iran probably not a very easy thing to do.
No.
Yeah.
So my heart goes to the people who are fighting.
Right. Do you have any connection to anybody still there?
Not really. No. If I did, it would be cousins that I either haven't
talked
met
to for years.
No.
Right.
So.
Maybe now is a good point of the show for you to read some of your work.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So
and that'll give me a chance to take a sip of chai.
Okay. So I'll read The Basement of Tehran. So this poem is about what I've been speaking about, trying to...
Can I see the book?
Oh, sure. Yeah. This is Shake the...
Or put it up to the...
Pier and Springs Press published that a few years ago.
And how can our listeners or viewers find it?
It's on Amazon. It's on my website. Okay. It's on, I think, a lot of the bookstores.
Right. If they go to your website, so then that's not through Amazon, it's through you?
It's www.carolinereddy.com.
Right. But you're the one that sends it out, or?
Yeah, actually, my good friend Charity Helton made the website for me.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So I'll read The Basement of Tehran. And this poem is, it is about, working through the trauma and finding your voice. This is a poem I read here, actually. So it's good to be reading it again. The Basement of Tehran. Hold still, child, to that fuzzy blanket until the siren stops. And when bombs drop, we have the space beneath us that holds still as we take shelter underneath the loud alarm. When fear reigns, stop, Azizem. Smell fresh Nivea scent of your mother's hand. Pull closer to your madar. I tug at my papoose. My childhood blanket has collected neuron memories that can be triggered any second by the latest bombs in Ukraine. I am an REM, trapped by nightmares that steal any sense of peace as I collapse under the eclipse. I can remember the pieces of another life, a pair of damn skis and the smell of cardamom chai from Nahar, lunch. While remaining a child in hiding then, and now a displaced refugee in a country that often shouts, "Go back home." I will process it step by step before the rumination spirals downwards. Stop and assess. Sense. Feet touching moist earth, smooth fingers reaching for the object before me. My water bottle with a wolf howling above, pine trees sprawling at its feet, and mountain peaks rising towards its graceful neck. Just breathe the scene deep and rise upward from the belly to throat to crown. I allow myself to sink into the tub and inhale scents of lavender. I let Epsom salt rinse off old aches and soothe my nerves, for the sound of sirens from the basement of Tehran has been replaced by the sensation of Tibetan singing bowls.
Nice.
Thank you.
So is this partially a memory of your childhood, the basement of Toronto? Was that something that basement of Iran? Something happened to you? Or?
I just have these memories that keep showing up in my stories and poem about Nivea scent hands. My guess is maybe I had relatives there kind of soothing me with that smell.
Right.
So that's where it came from. Whether it's a memory or made up, it's a nice image to have this gentleness among Satar.
Well, you were only there 8 years. Were all 8 years fraught?
Yeah, all of it was just revolution and war. And I mean, there was normalcy somewhat during, but I don't remember much. So trying to make sense of it was difficult for years. And, you go through anger and you go through why me, and you go through like other people get to have like a normal childhood. But then at some point you have to kind of take your life back from all that.
Right.
So.
Well, it's not every day. I mean, we're fortunate, sometimes. This is going to sound funny, but I work in a cafe, and they've been doing work on the road, and which means jackhammer, and it's really loud, and it's really annoying. But then at one point, I thought to myself, well, there are people that live in war-torn cities or towns in different parts of the world where noises like that are regular, except that they're going to kill you. They can hurt you, or wipe out your village or your town or parts of your city. So I said, I should just suck it up.
Yeah, I get
but it made me that rattling sound, that constant, and if you just can't imagine living with that, but with the threat of death.
That I kind of tell myself that sometimes when things aren't going well, like if the water is, whatever, I'm like, well, this is nothing compared to what people are dealing with. And the other thing I remember, I was sitting in Zazen in meditation, and outside it was like this, they were doing work outside, empty hand. And I remember at some point, us discussing, well, that is part of meditation. Like that is, that happens sometimes, unfortunately.
Right.
So it's kind of like, when things are difficult, I remind myself that I am lucky and grateful.
Right. Right. When did this book come out?
This was published by Pierce Springs Press, and it came out in 2020, I think it was 24. Okay,
so it's recent.
Yes.
Is it your most recent?
No, the most recent, I have one poem that I would like to read. This is the first book was dedicated to my mom. This is dedicated to Joe, who has been he's the only man in my life that's been very supportive of this path.
Okay.
So that's been tremendous support for me.
Right.
So I will read that poem too.
Okay.
And then I do want to read some more. Is that okay?
Well, we're only a third of the way into the show, so we have time for reading more.
Okay.
Sure.
So I'm gonna read Plum Blossom because this is actually goes to the idea of how, you know, people meet and they don't really know how and where. And Plum Blossom is Baika, and it's my Zen name. Plum blossoms appear in Japan during the winter season.
Yeah, okay.
Plum Blossom. I might have sensed your first laugh at a lantern festival when yellow threads of light flickered the reflection of a distant shore in your eyes. I might have brushed by your shoulder while you tamed your flute in the woods. And in that frequency, I also heard the faint tappings of a drum spread across a mossy rock. It must be in this fleeting moment that bits of our lineage crossed, as we watched snowflakes soften underneath the moon, making space for plum blossoms to bloom.
I read this one it's on your website.
Yes.
Can I see it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So the idea of meeting
Oh,
people.
sorry.
Oh, yeah, you could take one of these if you want. The idea of meeting people it's like actually being back here. Who knew that, you know, a couple of years ago I was here
Right.
reading in front of so many amazing poets, and then I'm back here. So
Right.
it's the idea of how
I don't
people
remember
connect.
how we connected. You reached out to me, right?
Yes. I reached out to David Lawton.
Oh,
So I
okay,
said I
'cause-
have some classes coming up. Is there anything I can? Are there any?
Okay. I thought it was a David
Yeah, he was there.
connection.
Which I read for FIT last
Yeah,
year.
he was on the show
Yeah, he's-
last year in the fall
Yeah.
sometime. Yeah. So tell me about the Lantern Festival.
The Lantern Fest. I'm trying to remember. It must have been an image I saw
Okay.
somewhere, and I thought that was really cool. And I think that was maybe something that happened in Japan. I'm not exactly sure.
Right.
A lot of images, it's kind of you collect in your subconscious and you
Sure.
pull. So I think that was one of those images.
Right. And how do these images make you feel?
The ones that are healing, I think the reason why I stopped writing the more like traumatic poetry, is because the ones that make me feel good are the ones that are more hopeful. Even as a kid, when I was writing a lot of the dark stuff, I was always hopeful towards the end. That was something that...
Yeah, it's funny. I struggle with that. I do tend to write about giving voice to people or situations, people having a difficult time. It might be drugs or abuse or stuff like that. But I try to sprinkle in other more light poems as well, or at least end with a hopeful thing. But, life's not always like that. So I try to be true with my poetry also. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. But, I've done both. I've done some of this is a little bit darker.
Right.
But I think what happened is at some point I kind of, because of everything that's happening in the world, I kind of myself wanted to read more cozy books or things that are a little bit more lighthearted. I never read romance, and now I'm reading romance.
Okay. Right.
So I think I
Is that your next thing? Maybe in the future you'll be doing a romance book?
I'm working on something. It's coming along. It's just
Right.
it's a mess right now. It's all over the place.
Right,
Hopefully soon. It doesn't have a title. It has sort of a beginning.
Right.
Hopefully one day that'll be published. So yeah, I feel like for me personally, yes, I think it's important to give the voice to and get all that out. But I also feel better when I'm writing the lighter stuff.
Okay.
That's kind of what it comes down to.
Right.
It's harder to get me motivated to write the more traumatic stuff. I feel like I've done a lot of that.
Right.
And
in some ways, maybe you just keep hammering at something that's in you that you've already feel like you've expressed.
Right. Yeah. So like,
and you don't want to be trapped by it either.
Exactly. So for example, here's one called The Retreat. This was right after my divorce, which was really difficult.
And when was that?
Oh gosh, that was over 10 years ago.
Okay.
So what I did after the divorce is taking vacations. I took vacations with girlfriends, but I also wanted to go inward, so I did a lot of retreats. And I took a retreat in Omega, and I'm skeptical of healers and all this stuff, even though I kind of believe in it. I went into this auditorium, and I had this experience. It was just really cool and weird and powerful. So this poem came out of that.
Okay,
it's called The Retreat.
Right.
The auditorium was dimly lit when the healer transformed into Merlin and transmuted the stale energy into rays of light. I felt intense heat smooth over the divorce papers as I began to reclaim faint tunes of the universe once more. I wanted to wave my fingers mid-air, improvising over the piano keys, but the pipes were still clogged with rancid tears. So I let entropy reside in my skin as I felt bits of me slip into the underworld. I paused between each breath as the shivers appeared again. I huddled beneath the bookshelves as the cells disappeared again. I stripped off my socks and watched toes uncurl on top of pebbles and the dewy grass. I walked barefoot through the labyrinth and listened to butterflies as I bathed in their flutter at the start of a soul retrieval journey.
Nice.
Thank you. So this is kind of what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There is, a divorce is difficult for anyone. That's something that a lot of people deal with. But having moments in places of retreat, I think really help me come back home to myself.
All right.
I have a few more.
Okay.
Okay, so these are 4 haikus that I wrote. So this again goes back to the Zen tradition. I think these were prompts that had come up. I work with a wonderful life coach, Shanae Fournier, and she would send me a prompt, like a line, and she'll say, okay, try to work with a haiku with this, And I would sit there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know, haikus are hard, I can't, And then I something would come out, I'm like, okay, I think I like this one. So I wrote a few.
Okay.
I feel like I don't know if I could do
Are they
it.
connected?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're all like Buddhist ideals.
Yes.
A drop of dew forms, and an empty nest remains as the crane takes flight. The singing bowls ring, announcing Buddha nature. A plum blossom blooms. A night heron drinks pure water from a blue shell. Sanctity unfolds. We sit in zazen, enlightenment shifts in space, cosmic chords vibrate.
Nice. So you said you spent a lot of time growing up in like Westchester area. Where do you live now?
I live in New Rochelle.
Oh, New
Westchester,
Rochelle.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, which is it's a busy town, but it's
Right.
good. Yeah.
I was wondering why you. I think you said you were taking you were going to be on Grand Central today to get here.
Oh yeah, because I'm coming from New Rochelle, so
Yeah.
so coming from New Rochelle, you have to take the Metro North,
Right,
Grand
right.
Central.
All right.
So I wanted to get here a little bit early.
Right. So
But yeah.
so you traveled for your art today.
Yes, I travel from.
Does that mean, is there anything up that way that you I mean, I know you work in a library, but are there good places for you to go out for readings and things?
There were a few places. Well, I've been working a little bit with New Rochelle Council of the Arts, so I read with them in October for the Arts Fest.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll be reading again with them. Hopefully, I'm not sure. Andrea, who's the person I've met, she took my class in New Rochelle, and she said, "I want you to, come in," and it's really cool to work with her. So she and I will hopefully be setting something up again.
Right.
So, I did come out to the city a lot, and
Right.
I've done a lot of stuff on Zoom. It's just more, as New York City it's a lot of art and music, and books, and I just feel like when you go to the city, it's a little bit more wider.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's I found out there's every weekend pretty much.
There's something going on.
Yeah. Right.
Museum. You go to a bookstore. You
but even just for poetry.
Oh, right, for poetry. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you? I just always like to, ask my guests that are writers, which part of the process, because you do read-ins, they're very different, ways of expressing yourself. Write in the original piece and then reading. Do you enjoy the reading part, live readings?
For me, it's honestly the hardest part is reading out loud.
Right.
Yeah, I feel a little bit like I kind of feel the words coming out, but it's always harder to read.
Mm-hmm.
The writing in the beginning is rough because you're going through so many drafts before something forms. But once it forms, you're like, oh, okay, this works.
Right.
So I think I like that moment when things are unfolding. It's in the middle part.
Right.
It's not the beginning because it's really rough. At the end, feels like it came together, and that's not true. It's like the middle when things are connecting is my favorite part of writing.
Yeah. I've been on a lot of stages in my life, so I really like the reading live part.
Okay, I kind of miss it. I should get back into it, but like I said, I've been preparing for these classes, so my focus has been
on that.
more
Yeah,
on
sure.
that.
And you got them coming up in March.
So I have the Poets House on Zoom from 6 to 8. That's every Thursday, and then I'll be teaching at Hudson Valley Writers Center,
Right.
And that's going to be April, May. So yeah.
Yeah. So I've talked about this before on the show, but I was in bands a lot. I was a drummer, so I was always in the back. And recently, not too long ago, I started. Well, I realized I liked writing poetry. I didn't know that I did, and once I started going out reading, it sort of like just felt like I just love it because I'm getting to express myself.
Yeah.
So all those years of being in bands, it's usually someone else's expression. I mean, I'm playing drums, so there's a part of it. I have a part of it, but they're not my words and my ideas,
Yeah, it's always, for me, it's always a little nerve-wracking reading, but I pushed through it, and at the end, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
But it's
well, maybe we talked about it. Maybe you'll be. I'm going to give a plug to I do a variety show every 2 months. It's called the Very Soul Variety Show, and it's Young Ethel's in Brooklyn and Park Slope. And the next one is March 21st, a Saturday from 3 to 6. So you might be a guest?
Yeah, I might be a guest. I just have to see if that's okay with my bosses, if I can take the day off if I'm working.
All right. So, I'll be doing more podcasts between now and then, so I can give the definitive answer.
Okay, yes.
People have to tune back in to find out if you're going to be there, and they can meet you in person.
Hopefully I can make it.
Yeah.
That's the tricky part is balancing your art and with your career.
Well, you got a career, and then also you don't live right around the corner.
Right. So
Young Ethel is literally 5 blocks from my house. So it's I can't. Yeah, worked out good for me that I found a home
that's awesome.
there. Yeah, that's in my neighborhood. Yeah. So you listed on your website a few other writers that inspired you. Are there any? I'm just curious. Like, there was a long list. Which one would maybe be somebody that would? Really...
So Azam Ali is one of my favorite. I'll say absolutely. Azam Ali is one of my favorite poets and musicians. She's amazing. She's always, out there giving voice for the women of Iran. She's probably one of my
Is that what the video that was on the website?
She did a
there was a video with poetry to music in
It might. I don't. I have to.
I was wondering if it's something you wrote or something that you just liked.
I have to check. I haven't been on my website. It has to be updated. Yeah.
All right.
So I think I put one of her songs up, but she's been one of the biggest influences.
Right.
There are other writers that have influenced me. A lot of the writers I've read with, and I always, love the classics. Mary Oliver's a huge one. Langston Hughes. Maya Angelou. Like a lot of people that I've worked with, I've enjoyed reading, and the inspiration comes for so many people, so I can't even remember who.
Right. No, it's okay.
But she's one that definitely comes up.
Right.
That has been a huge influence on my writing, and she, I feel like she usually kind of gets into the spiritual side of it in a different way as well.
I pulled up the video.
Oh yeah, that was so Shervin.
Let me play a second. Let me play.
Sure, yeah.
Play a little bit of it.
It's a cover of Shervin
توی کوچه رقصیدن برای ترسیدن به وقت بوسیدن برای خواهرم خواهرت خواهرامو برای تغییر مغزها که پوسیدن برای شرمندگی برای بیپولی
برای حسرت یک زندگی معمولی برای کودک زباله گرد و آرزو.
So they're all talking about for something.
Right. So this was a cover she did for.
So who's she?
Azamali did for.
It is Ala. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The Grammy for that song for such a
Wow. Okay. Right.
So,
And is she in the
she
video?
just did it. No. So yeah, she's in this video.
Yeah.
And he did it just. He's taking it just from social media.
Because there's a number of people.
But she's the one I'm familiar with.
Right.
So she's.
I like it. It sounds,
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed the words.
Yeah. It's powerful, and
Yeah.
Shervin Hajipur found them on social media, and this is just people's voices all coming together. So I think that's the power of art, music, writing, poetry. It can unite people, and especially difficult times when people are so
Right.
divided and angry and hurt from different things that are going on right now.
Right. If you're able to come March, well, if you can't come March 21st, we'll try to do it some other time after that. I end the show with, I have a group that does puts music to
Oh, nice.
my poetry. So
That's awesome.
I get my background in music
That
comes up, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of do miss that. I think I got very kind of involved in the everyday life, but I do miss it being out here and reading and performing. But like I said, it's always a little. I came in here, I was like, oh, okay,
Right.
I guess I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So it's a little nerve-wracking.
Sure.
I think that's why I wrote, because I didn't love being in front of people as
Right.
much.
I see.
It's a little bit harder for me to do
Right.
that.
Right.
But I do enjoy reading, and I do feel like it gives voice to the words. It's interesting. And then when you can collaborate with someone, that's also powerful.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened
Yeah.
there in a way. So I'm just going to read a few more.
Sure, of course.
This is a sacred dance. So this is one of the poems I wrote that I didn't think it was great, and because it got rejected a few times. And over the years, I learned how to deal with rejection better.
Right.
It takes a while to, okay.
Well, you never know what's behind the rejection.
You
know?
never.
Yeah.
Some of them were really nice. They would say, "This is really good. We think it needs a little bit of editing. Try us again in another year."
Right.
Some
Or
were
maybe
like
just
that.
might not fit there. Or,
Some said it doesn't really fit us. So
Right.
I learned how to deal with that. But at the time that I was writing fiction, it wasn't working. I did send this out after 2 or 3, and then this is the poem that got nominated for Best of the Net. It's called A Sacred Dance. Twirling in a tattered tribal scarf and an empty room, I remember the empress flame that lit the embers of an old Sufi heart. I dream of a womb where the ashes of a wounded bird do not spoil. Perhaps it has been abandoned in a crypt, hidden beyond cypress trees and tiger lilies to serve me now. Reserve these shimmies and protect lost goddess shakes through maddening masquerades in this sacred dance of stillness and shifting space.
so it's, what's the impetus for that one?
This one I don't remember. I think this was another one where there were all these images that had to come out somehow, and I remember dance.
So you're kind of visual. You're kind of visual with your poetry.
Now it's coming back to me. I remember dance being a way that I express myself. So that was kind of another healing tool. I think that's where this came from.
Right. Do you dance?
Okay. Yes, I love belly dance, and
Okay.
I do take Zumba with some amazing people.
Right.
And so that's been a great fun, because Zumba's like it makes you feel silly, and so that's one way for me of healing and art coming together. Being playful with other adults in a place where it's accepting and no one's gonna laugh at you for whatever you're doing.
Right.
So that's the power of dance.
Right.
And I remember taking one of the workshops, which was about dance. I think it was called Dance Your Bliss, which was powerful, and just studying dance in general, different reasons why people dance, different rituals of dance. So that was interesting to me. And I have a few more.
Okay.
I think I'll do two more. Okay. So this is again another hopeful poem. It's called Songs of Koknus. Koknus is it's like a phoenix bird. It rises from the ashes. This poem was written during the Zendegi Azadi Women Life Freedom movement, and I remember, I think Nowruz was coming up. Nowruz is the New Year. It's from the Zoroastrian tradition. So this was about finding hope in the darkness.
Okay.
Songs of Koknus. Songs rise from the ashes as Koknus burns away debris of thistles and last bits of sterile soil from the chambers of my heart. The spring equinox brings Nowruz as I tumble through tombs and burst from beneath the snow like a lustrous tulip. I recite poetry and swing on wings of origami doves that allow my mind to bring back memories from the wind. I was once adorned in green bands, beaming up the sky with love and hope as we cheered for peace at Cafe Naderie and beyond Washington Square Park. I breathe into dandelion seeds as a turquoise egg emerges and cracks open. Donya wraps around us as the phoenix burns our sorrows so we can emerge as star seeds, bringing forth divine feminine energy.
Nice.
So that is my hope, that one day, hopefully, that things will change and things will get better. Whether I'm being naive, I don't know, but that's my hope.
Well, I think it's kind of important to have. Yeah, you can just get lost if you don't have some kind of form of hope.
I think
right?
that's what happened. I think that was another shift from activism to more healing. When I was doing work with international human rights and writing all these poems, there was hope, but I was researching through a lot of the traumatic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the time, I'd just broken up with someone. I was really not in the place to deal with more. And then I think at some point I was like, all right, I gotta work on other types of stuff. And it shifted from that into, well, how can I heal from all of this? And that's where the journey has come from. And this poem kind of goes into that as well. This is the last poem. It's called Our Hymn. And this second book is dedicated to my dear boyfriend, Joe Azizi, who's been very supportive of this path.
He's waiting outside for
He's
you.
He's waiting outside. And then we're going to go have dinner for Valentine's.
Oh, nice. Where are you going?
I don't know yet.
You're going to be in this. You're going to stay here.
We're going to stay in the city and
Right.
grab something. He's been the only man in my life that's been very supportive of my
Good
path.
for him and
Yeah.
good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our hymn. The moon scoops up the scent of cherry blossoms along the trail of dewy branches, and in this moment, I feel the radiance of raindrops, for the earth is now fertile. I follow Caribbean rhythms in dance class, flowing as I undulate. I dust off ghostings that no longer linger under my plaid autumn dress, or underneath the snowy pull of icy cubes in glacial cubicles. Underneath the moonlit sky, I breathe in the notes of sleeping satellite, and the dullness dissolves. As I shift into my silky brown skin, I trace energy among distant planets and between the dimensions. Our muse flows on the radio. As you remember this hymn, we tune into each other's heartbeat, and I allow the windfall to spin me into the drifting petals, swaying into your loving arms. So this is, again, another poem about, meeting people in different ways. And there was a song by Tasman Archer called Sleeping Satellite that I felt like nobody would remember. And he remembered that, and that was kind of a nice moment. So I feel like nice moments are great when it happens with romantic partners, but it can also happen with a stranger.
Right.
Just both of you watching the same sunset, for example.
Sure.
So I think that's really important to have these moments of connection.
I noticed, so there's a spiritual quality, but there's also, very vivid portraits of nature.
Yes, nature is definitely, and that.
And is that is that because there's a connection between nature and spirituality?
I think so, yeah. I love to hike, and a lot of my poems do go into nature a lot because I feel like that's where you find spirituality. In the sunset, in
Trees and
the
birds.
mountain. Yeah, that's where I feel like you find moments of beauty. And nature has been a big part of my life.
Do you feel the image of birds is also some sort of symbolism for freedom,
I was thinking
for
that.
letting go.
Yeah, letting go, freedom. So yeah, I think nature plays an important part. And like if you hike and, sometimes it's really hard.
Where do you go hiking?
Where was the last? We went to Croton Harmon. It's
Okay.
really nice there.
Right.
I've hiked, the tough one was at Overlook Mountain in Woodstock, which is,
Right.
it's
Right.
uphill the entire way.
Right,
And you're like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this?
right.
And then you get up there and the view is fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you find your
I love it up there. I
Yeah,
love the
it's really-
mountains.
yeah,
And,
it's- it's
We
nice.
went up last summer, my wife and I, to see Booker T. Jones, one of my favorite musicians from the 60s.
Oh, nice.
And we found a park. Oh, no, I'm going to forget the name of it. And I forget the artist's name. This is awful. But it just came to mind. It's really beautiful. It's a sculptor who bought an abandoned quarry and worked on it he wanted to work on it for 40 years, and he died in the 39th year. But it's such a beautiful place, and it's surrounded by mountains. I'm having one of those moments. Something came up, and I can't finish the idea. I don't know why. I wrote down to ask you about cooking soup.
I love to cook soup. It's very relaxing,
Yeah.
especially like
Because
when it
it's
snows.
it's like, I mean, you can make a bad soup, but at the same time you can take a bunch of things and put it together and usually it'll be good.
Yeah, I think it's comforting for me. So
Right.
if there's like a snowstorm, and we're just there, and you can't do much. I think it's.
But the
it's
reason why I connected with that idea was, so my mother passed away first, and she was 93, and then my father was a year younger. He managed to hold on for another 4 years, and I made it my point to visit him, at least every couple of weeks. He lives out on Long Island, and I would usually make him a meal. And soup is kind of like an easy thing to bring to somebody's house or put together at their house, and he likes soup. And I felt like it is very nurturing and comforting,
yeah.
and it was just a great way to spend time with him and bond. So when I saw that, I was like, I really made a connection to that.
Well, yeah, that's the kind of moments I'm thinking of. People can connect, and memories can be brought back by visions and images.
Right. And he was so grateful. He would go, "Wow, you come out all the way out here and you make me food." I'm like, "Dad, it's not that hard." I mean, I was a professional chef, so it wasn't that hard for me to make him a soup.
That's cool. Yeah.
So
Soup
it was a good memory for me.
Yeah.
But there's something about soup that's very
Yeah, it's
nurturing,
comforting
or
and
comforting.
nurturing.
It's good for you.
Yeah, and I feel like it takes a while.
So what's your favorite soup?
I made what did I make? A bean and barley soup that comes out pretty good.
Right.
It's like just different beans, barley.
And what's the origin
vegetables.
of it?
I don't remember. I remember making it for empty hands. Either I made it or we put together a recipe book, and that recipe was in there. So that's what I go to when I'm cooking a soup. I think back to that.
Was your
recipe.
mother a good cook?
She's an amazing cook.
And
yeah,
did she do traditional Persian dishes?
She does amazing traditional Persian
Is she
dishes.
still here?
Yeah, she's still here. Yeah.
Okay, where does she live?
She lives in New Rochelle as well.
Oh, all
She's
right.
like
So
15 minutes away from
Oh,
me.
that's great.
Yeah.
Right.
So if we go over, she'll have nice bread of khoresh and saffron rice and all these amazing. And I'm like,
I'm getting
oh my-
hungry.
Yeah, and then I try to make it. Comes out good. Sometimes not as good.
Right.
I have trouble with the tadig, which is the potato on the bottom of the pot. I've tried a few times, so I got to get that right.
Oh, so they put a layer of potato to make it crunchy, and then they make the rice?
Yeah, you could do that with rice and with potato. And the potato, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but someday I'm going to get it.
Because I tried to make a Persian rice dish where it was supposed to be crunchy, and you flip it over, and
Yeah, it's hard.
it didn't come out as crunchy as I wished it did.
That's the one. What I can make,
Maybe you need a special pot for it.
maybe I need a special. Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
know.
I can make khoresh fesanjun, which is a chicken pomegranate stew with chicken pomegranate molasses and spices. It comes out really good.
Right.
That's kind of my specialty.
Oh,
I make
okay.
that, and Joe likes that a lot. So
I like the sound of it.
Yeah, it's really good.
And
I
are
can
you
make that.
are you good at making any Persian breads?
Breads? No, I
No.
can't bake. That's why I
Okay.
cook.
Oh, all right.
I've tried to bake, and it comes out as a disaster.
So usually I read one of my poems,
Would love to hear.
and I wrote one that I do a lot of narrative poetry, telling people's stories, try to imagine other people's lives. Sometimes it's based on something that might be real, and sometimes it's just something that comes to my head. And this one's called Keeping On. Lucinda rolled over and knocked the alarm clock halfway across the room. The noise startled her cat, who jumped off the bed so fast like she was in a cartoon. Lucinda felt so tired she was almost sick. Jake was on the road driving his big rig across county lines, doing the midnight shift on snow-covered highways. She prayed that morning that he'd be safe and find his way back home. Times were getting hard. Working 2 jobs was barely cutting it. Her world was going mad, and so was she. Her aging body ached, made her feel like crying. Where did the years go, she thought? How did she get to this place of not knowing how to keep on going? Taking people's money in a box store, cleaning homes afterwards, no time for the things that made her feel human, that made her feel alive. Passing Jake in the hallway, never time to just hold on and feel the warmth of love. She looked out the window as the winter storm hit hard. This one looked bad, she thought. Just one more thing to worry about, one more challenge in her world of being knocked around. It was time to leave, but traveling alone was all too much. She had trouble seeing what was ahead and too afraid to see what she was leaving behind. But Lucinda wasn't the kind to give up, and she still dreamed that there was something that will make her life not feel like a waste of time.
What was the inspiration for that?
I don't really know.
Or
A
no?
lot of times I don't know.
Okay.
I was listening to Lucinda Williams' song.
Oh, yeah, I love her.
Yeah, and that's why I named the character Lucinda. And I don't think it had anything to do with her song, but it just put me in a frame of mind.
Okay.
And, the idea of, a lot of people are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fortunate enough to not be struggling. I'm not rich by any stretch, but I have a rich life because of things like this,
Yeah, definitely.
But I worry about other people, and the people have a tough time. And also the whole thought of like that's like not a very city story, because we're so wrapped up. I live in New York City,
Right.
so we're wrapped up in our way of living. But there are people in the other part of the country that are different, living a different kind of life. So sometimes I try to put myself in other people's place.
I think that's the power of art, being able to be an empath and put yourself in
Right.
other people's shoes, and yeah, it's tough out there.
Yeah,
And,
I'm deeply an empath to the point where, like, if I visited somebody and they were in pain, I would almost feel like I was.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a bit much,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but it helps with writing poetry.
I think that's what
That's
a
the
lot
benefit.
of empaths probably write poetry. I'm
Right.
sure.
So we still have some time. I'm just, what do you want people to understand about you as a person and as a writer?
I think the biggest challenge and hope and idea of my journey is finding your voice, sticking to what you want to do no matter what. For years, I felt like I couldn't write.
I saw you.
anything.
You mentioned the idea of mentorship.
Yes, I did have the life coach I work with is wonderful. She's been the mentor for me for the past couple of years. I was fortunate enough to.
Is this your first time having a life coach?
Yeah. I
Okay.
never thought of working with someone this closely. And she helped me with prompts, for example.
Right.
Or she was the one who gave me the idea of meditate in the morning and whatever comes down.
She's a life coach, not a writing coach.
No, but she's very creative.
She's trying to
a
help you
painter.
structure your life to be a better writer, kind of thing.
Just to get my voice back, things like that. And she's good painter, great painter.
Okay.
I think having that support, my friend Charity Helton made the website. Joe's very supportive. Having a few people that you really, really trust in your life, I think, is also important.
Right. Yeah, my wife's very supportive of what I do.
You're lucky, yeah. We're both lucky.
She'll edit this video, and she actually videotapes the variety show. And hold on. It's okay for me to give myself a plug once in a while.
course, yes.
So I have a new book. It's called From Here to Institutionalized.
And where can we find that?
Well, we're unfortunately just right now on Amazon, I'm sorry to say, or through me. But she designed it. It's my second book, and her design is just so fantastic.
That's awesome.
She's that's what she does for a job,
That's
for a
awesome.
living. So I'm lucky to have an art, to have her support with making what I do look good. So
That's awesome.
the
That's
idea of
good,
support is good.
yeah. The idea of support is good, whether it's a good friend.
I also have a
said.
friend. Once I started writing poetry, so this is funny. I've known him. He he was my best man. I've known him since like 79 or something like that. But he was a drummer and I was a drummer. So, we didn't collaborate very often. It was just one time we had a little percussion group that we collaborated on. And he was always off on his thing with his bands and me on mine. But, when I guess around the same, he's been playing guitar a little longer than I've been writing poetry. But, we both have been doing that and not having a way to express it until I started going out to readings. And then once I asked him to write a piece of music for my poetry. Just want to see what that would be like. And it just clicked. And so now I have that supportive, a friend who's supportive.
Yeah.
And it's great to have collaborators sometimes.
I think, yes.
Somebody to,
bounce off ideas.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I think that's important, collaboration, but also having, if you have a passion, I've known this was my path since I was a kid, and I felt like nobody understood this path.
Right.
And I pushed through it. I was stubborn enough to kind of pursue it through.
Not even your mom?
She's very practical.
Right. She wanted you to be like a doctor.
She wanted me to be an engineer.
Engineer,
And
okay.
if anyone seen me do math, they would not want me to.
That wasn't the right choice for you.
Oh no.
Okay.
So and then she said, "Well, why don't you become a teacher?" She was a teacher. She thought that would be a safe. So I did that, but it wasn't.
What did she teach?
She used to teach. She was an assistant teacher, so she said, "Why don't you do that?" And so I did that, and the way it was set was not my life. This was what she wanted for me to have.
You have to find yourself.
I think that's what happens with immigrant parents. They come here, they say, "Well, I sacrificed all this for you. Why are you?"
Right.
And that's a tough kind of.
So my parents were children of immigrants, but they lived through the Depression and the World War, so they lived through a lot. The funny thing is, they never really had asked. They just wanted their kids to be happy and successful. It didn't matter what that was going to be. Yeah. So I guess I'm kind of lucky in that way. We all, I'm one of 7 children.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's.
And we all went, and they never tried to dictate what they did. They hoped that they would find themselves,
Yeah, luckily I decided to sort of do this, and I had some other friends, and throughout the years I've been lucky to work with different people, open mics around here. I read at a bar here. I don't remember which one it was.
But you found a way to support yourself, and sometimes there's a connection to your passion. Right.
I'm very lucky.
So it worked out.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. The place I work at, I said, "Hey, I have this idea. Can I work here with it?" And they said, "Yeah, go for it."
Yeah,
and it took off. They saw it was successful, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, go for it."
All right. So we're almost at the end. Why don't you talk once more about your workshops?
So I will be teaching The Immigrant's Voice at Poets House in March.
Give a little more description of what that means.
So the Immigrant's Voice is going to have the idea of bringing in items from your culture and using it as a prompt to write.
So have you done this before?
I've done something similar called the Creative Breath.
Because it sounds great.
Yeah.
And it'd be great if you get like a cross section of different people from different places.
We're hoping. And then it's also for, we're going to work on a meditation and we'll get a prompt out of that. So
are you leading the meditation, or are you bringing someone else?
Yeah, I'm also a Reiki master. I forgot about.
I had that as a question for you too, but I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Right.
So my life.
How long does it take to study to be a Reiki master?
A weekend? I think I did in a weekend at the Zen Center. So I studied. It's just really about being aware of energy, not to get too detailed because it can get.
There's levels.
There's levels, and it's just hard to explain it to people. Sure. If you're like a massage therapist or someone who works with energy, that's the best way to kind of put it. Right. So when I teach, I also want to make that space not only fun and for people to be successful, but also feel safe. Mm-hmm. That was my thing. I always wanted a safe space to create. And those workshops that I took in the past were always creating safe spaces and allowing us each to have a voice.
Right.
So the Poets House, every Thursday in March on Zoom from 6:30 to 8:30. And then in April, May, I'll be teaching The Immigrant's Voice at Hudson Valley Writer Center. And that one's going to be a little bit different. It's also for people who are born here who want to also learn a little bit about their background. It's
well, maybe a future project will be to take all these people's voices and make a book.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. I think that's...
Like down the road, 5-year plan.
That would be, yeah. So I'm excited to teach. So all of my creativity and energy has been going into that to get ready for those classes, and I do hope that people tune in and take it. I taught at Poets House last spring. It was great. I taught the creative breath, which is using meditation and prompts.
Mm-hmm.
And all these classes are basically to help people find their voice,
Right.
to help people find a way to express themselves and feel safe doing it.
Right. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're at the end of the show. You've been listening to Storytelling on Orchard Street. I'm your host, Pete Salamita, and we record in the podcast studios of P&T Knitwear Bookstore on Orchard Street, 180, down the Lower East Side. I've had the nice fortune of learning about Caroline Reddy's work and her background. I hope you all enjoyed listening to Caroline talk about her work. At the end of this, you'll see her information up on the screen. So go check her out and maybe attend her workshops. That would be
Thank
great.
you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And maybe in the future, people might get to see you on my variety show. Okay. So thank you all for listening. Thank you, Caroline, for coming down to the...
Thank you so much, and thank you
Thanks.
to Peanut Bookstore.
Yep.
Thank you.